You've probably seen those paid ads where they're like, I made $4 million with my first course launch. And meanwhile, you've probably launched and sold a handful and thought, what are they doing differently that I'm not doing? And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. How some people were able to launch their first online course and make thousands, and it's not with paid ads. And also, what do they know about selling that you might be completely missing? And lastly, what's the one thing that needs to be in place before you're able to even think about paid ads? So first, how were they able to launch their first online course and make thousands? You know what the first thing they did was they built trust with their audience. They created some kind of podcast or YouTube channel. They put out content like crazy. And then when they saw people asking questions and wanting more information, then they thought, I could build an online course around this. So what they did was build a full audience and then created a course based on what people were asking for. What you may have done is create an online course and thought, okay, who's going to buy this? I better build a YouTube channel or a podcast so I can share my information so I get people to buy my online course. So you kind of did the opposite of what they did. Whenever they did launch and they had 10,000 followers already, all those people were ready to buy. So they were able to sell, numerous ones up front. So what you did was launch to strangers, and what they did was launch to a warm audience. And the second thing that they probably did was when they posted content, they were sure to interact with every comment and every question people asked. And they paid attention to the words that people were using, and that way they can reuse those words in their sales. So one little tip I can give you is take all those comments in your content that people are replying to, any questions they ask, copy and paste their comments into a document, put them all in one place. This way you can refer back to that on a regular basis to use in your marketing. So something else that they did was when they launched, they were thinking about the goals of the people taking the course. They were thinking, I can't wait to see the transformation that these people who are going to take my online course are going to get. They're not thinking, I can't wait to launch this online course and make thousands of dollars. They may have thought, I can't wait to, collect a little money from this content I've been creating, but they're not launching with money goals. They're launching with the fact that they want to make the best online course possible. It shows up in your content when your goal is to launch and you have money in mind versus you have your client or student in mind. It really shows up in your content. You know what else they did right? They warm up their audience before the launch. So they have a plan. They didn't hide out until a cart opened. They didn't suddenly say, I have an online course. Are you ready to buy it? Instead, they started creating it and were like, hey, I'm starting to create this online course. Are you interested in it? And if you are, here are 5 things I want to include in it. What do you think? Or they'd say, I have 3 titles I'm thinking about calling my online course. What do you think of this? So they're getting the audience involved. They're getting the audience excited by sharing the behind the scenes about how they're building this. They're getting the audience warmed up, ready to purchase this. So by the time they do launch, the audience is really ready. They also offer things other than paid content. So they have a freebie PDF of some sort, perhaps a free workshop that, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour workshop they're giving away. It could be just a half-hour long where you get on and you have one thing in mind that people are learning and they can ask questions for half an hour so that you're getting your audience more involved. And the more they can learn from you through your free stuff, the more they can get an idea of how your teaching style is. And then whenever you do release some paid content, they're like, I can't wait to work with this person. I've learned so much from their free stuff. I can't wait to see what's in the paid content. That must be really involved. And the weekly email tips really help a lot. Once people get on your email list, you email them regularly, and then they start to feel like they know you because they're getting regular messages from you. And what their successful course creators are doing is they're not disappearing after the freebie. So they're not saying, here's a link to get my freebie, and then they disappear when someone downloads it. They've built up a whole welcome sequence that introduces themselves and their company and the ways to work together, perhaps other ways you can get free content from them. And then they send out weekly emails. So they don't build the freebie and think, oh, maybe later I'll think about what to do with all those emails. Whenever they build the freebie, they are also building the welcome sequence and have a plan for the weekly content during that time. They don't just launch the freebie and then make a plan to build the welcome sequence later. It comes at once. They would never think about offering a freebie without some kind of follow-up. Something else they're doing right is they have an intentional launch plan. So they have 3 parts in their launch calendar: the pre-launch, open close cart, and post-launch. The pre-launch was what I was talking about earlier with the getting them excited about what's coming soon, a little sneak peek, behind the scenes, asking their opinion, all that. And the next, the wait list. So while they're in pre-launch, you want to go ahead and build a page with the wait list, and that way you're gathering interest. So you could say things like, if you join the wait list, I'll let you know you'll be first notified when the cart opens, and you'll get all these bonuses because you're first to purchase, all that. And it not only builds anticipation, but makes them feel a little more VIP. So next we have the post-launch. And this is actually really important. A lot of people miss it. So after your launch, you want to internally reflect on what happened. You want to look at all the analytics. I'm not going to get into all the KPIs and everything, but you want to see, how you did and use numbers to evaluate that launch. So that way, when you launch again, you can compare these exact numbers to what you did previously. And then you'll probably see that with every launch, you'll get better and better. So even though your third launch may not be the ideal one you did, when you look back compared to one, you can see how your momentum is building and you're getting better and better at launching. And of course, you want to collect feedback and testimonials so you can continue to improve your program. 2 top course creators know about selling that a lot of people don't know when they're new to digital marketing. And that's messaging. So top creators focus on where the student wants to go and makes that the star of the offer. So where your student or client is beginning is point A. And once they take the course, they're going to be at point B. So point B is a transformation of what they're going to get inside the course. So what new course creators often focus on is how many modules are in there, how many videos there are. I mean, a question I often get is, I have 5 modules, each of them are 20 minutes long. How much should I price it at? And that's not the right question. The right question is, my people are starting here and they're ending up here. Now, based on that type of transformation, what should I price my course at? If it's something like a business where they're, getting money at the end, you're showing them how to make more money, it's usually priced higher, for example, than something that's a hobby, like learning how to quilt would be priced a little lower. So the transformation is actually what determines the price. It's not how much content is inside. And in fact, the more content you have inside your course, the more overwhelmed people are going to be. They'd much rather watch 5 videos and get to the solution than watch 50 videos and get to that same solution. At the beginning, they don't probably need to know all the details. They just need to know kind of how to get to the end. And then you fill in what's the rest with supplement and bonus materials. So most new creators focus on exactly what's inside the content, and top creators are focusing more on what that transformation or point B is. And whenever they create their messaging, meaning the words on their sales page or the words in the content that they're putting out, either video or written, that is the messaging. So the words that are being used to convey what you're trying to say is your messaging. Buyer readiness. So when you're new, you often are in a hurry to get your course out there. You think, I've spent money, trying to create this course. I've been paying for this platform, possibly having a VA, and you're in a hurry to make that money back. So you just put out your offer to whoever wants to buy it. But what top course creators know is that they need to warm up their audience. They need that pre-launch period to get them ready to be able to buy. They need to be first aware of what you're offering in general. They need to be aware of you. Then they need to be aware of your course. So there's a whole awareness stage that they need to go through to be able to buy from you, to be ready to buy from you. And finally, new course creators often, as I mentioned at the beginning, when you created the course and then you went out and looked for your audience. So that's not validating your offer before you launch it. So top creators have already created that course, created that audience, and then they find out what the audience wants from them, then they create the course. So they may not even create the course, they may even just build the audience, then put out a wait list or an idea of what they're trying to create, and listen to the feedback. What if people come back and say, that's not all we're looking for? So then that course creator knows that not to build that product, because they're going to spend 5 months creating a product, put it out there, no one's going to buy, because the results, whenever they asked, are that they don't want that offer. So they put out a wait list or pre-sale to determine demand. They put out surveys to gauge interest, or they build a mini course before a giant signature course. Rather than build, like 40 video library about your subject, instead they build some kind of 3 video kind of mini course to see how many people buy that. And then based on the feedback on that, decide if it's worth building out this bigger course. And finally, I want to share with the one thing that needs to be in place before even considering scaling with paid ads. So when I work with new course creators, I find that they want to build the course and then go find the audience. And they think the step from making millions on their course would be to go straight into paid. And that's just completely wrong, because they have not yet had a proven offer that sells organically. You really need at least 5 people to purchase your course or your program, your offer organically before you go out and put paid ads. So when people do buy without ads, that means that your message, your pricing, and your promise are landing. They're perfect. You've lined everything up. People are purchasing based on your messaging, and you've priced it right. And the transformation that you're promising that your program gives them are exactly what they're looking for. So if you instead skip the step of selling to at least 5 people without ads, then you're probably wasting a lot of money. Instead, you're trying to validate your offer, like you're trying to get to it quickly. And really, you can pay thousands of dollars in ads not to get a single sale, because you didn't first figure out your messaging, your pricing, and the transformation you're promising. So it's really important to validate your offer organically before getting into paid ads. In the next video, I'm going to talk exactly what to focus on before running those paid ads.